Good everyone. I hope you guys have an amazing day. So what I will do today, I will talk about how to create a database and how to create a table. Um, and yeah, and prep and to create a schema as well because it's very important, right? If you're working um, on a snowflake platform, you need to know how to create a database because um, sometimes what might happen is that you might want to give someone a test data you want if or you want to create a database to do a different operation, right? So it's important for you to know how you can create a database and tables. There are lots of other options there. You can create a stage, you can create a pipe. We'll look into that in the upcoming videos. Today, all I wanted to talk about how to create a table and database. Now, you could use SQL query to create your database and table, or you can use graphical user interface, right? Which is pretty simple. So I'm going to show you how to use uh, the graphical user interface to create database, and I'll also show you how to use the SQL to create a table. Now, if you log into your Snowflake instance, and if you have uh, the right privileges, so I have logged in using account admin role, so which means I could create database, I could create a table. Now, if you look into so on your left hand side, right, you might think, hey, I'm not able to find any option to create a database or table. That's because it sits under something called catalog, which sits under Horizon catalog, and under catalog you have something called Database Explorer. Now, under Database Explorer, you will have option to create um, database. Now, like I said, right, you could create a database using SQL query, like create database and database name and other params. Or you can use this graphical user interface, which is pretty nice and easy. So I would say model database. I'm just making this name up, right? Just let's say I wanted to create this database just for AI modeling, right? And this database is used for AI modeling, right? So I create that, which is fantastic. It will take a little bit of time. So you got this model database here. Now, when you uh, go to this database, you might find two schemas. Now, schemas are like a container, right? Which will separate it's like a logical containers, which will separate your data. It's quite common, right? If you are someone who worked with SQL Server or Oracle, you know what schemas, right? And it's also useful, right? If you wanted to give someone production data or test data, right? So, for instance, under model database, I could have a schema called the test schema, and also the schema called the production schema, which hosts the production data, and the test schema actually hosts um, the test data, which means the tables and other stuff, right? So, like I said, you could do this using SQL query, uh, but I'm not going to use SQL query here. I will rather use user interface. So I will say this. I will say test schema. Um, One thing you need to realize, one thing you need to know, your company or any place where you work, or if you are doing your own startup, please ensure you have a naming convention defined for defining tables or schemas and database is very important. And because it's what happens is if you don't follow any naming convention, then it will become very difficult for another developer to follow a specific standards and process. And you might know very well any company who struggle to follow naming convention often end up in convoluted metadata, so which is not really great. So what I'll do, I will say test um, um, schema. You could also put underscore, that's up to you, but I will just put it there. This host test data. And you could also create production schema if you like, but for now, I'll just keep it as such. Now, if you go to schema and you have an option here, you could do a lot of things. You can create a table, you can create a view. Views are like a virtual table, right, which gives you information from a table, but it's like a virtual information. You could create a pipe, you could create a task, you can create a stream, you can create a stream, you can create a function, you can create a procedure. Lots of things you can do, right? So what I'll do, I'll just do, so now create a table. Now you can create from a file, create from a standard, or create from external. So I'll do standard. Okay, so this is where I say, right, we will be using some of the SQL query. So create table. Let's say I wanted to create a table called employee. Sorry, let's say company table, right? Company. And what we'll do, we'll say company name, or I'll just put name, and I'll put string, and next column, I would say address, and I would say where. So I'll just say where char, right? Let's see if it works. I would say 255. These are data types, right? Then I would say is active, boolean, right? And so you could add more and more fields, right? So now I will see if I can create a table with this. Okay, so now what we have, you got a table here, right? Now, if I, let's say, if I wanted to view the table information, that's in this case company, you can go to company, table details. You probably won't find anything here because now if you can see the columns, and you could do that here. You could see the data preview. Obviously, there's none. You could also look at the data quality and stuff, right? Okay. Now, I wanted to insert record to this table. Now, how do you do that? It's pretty simple, right? Now, what I'll do, I will go to, let's say, go here, and I'll click here. I'll go SQL file, and what I'll do, it's going to take time. Okay, I kind of realized that I need to add one more column, right? So we have, if you realize, we have added name, we have added address, we have added is active. Now, what if the someone says, I need to add a description, right? What this company does and kind of stuff, right? Name is a company name, right? It's the name of a company. Description, pretty much about the company. So let's say, during the table creation using UI, admin kind of forgotten uh, a field. Now you could use SQL to do that, which is pretty simple. So I would say alter table. And now before I select the table name, just make sure you're in the right schema. So that's the model here, and um, okay, let me refresh this a bit, right? Um, so I'll do company. No, it doesn't work. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll close all of this, close all of this, close all of this, close all of it, because it just didn't refresh for some reason, which is fine. Now I'll go to catalog, I'll go to Data Explorer. Now obviously I have it. Now what I'll do, you could say this is a table definition, right? Which is great. Now let me try again. Alter table company add field description varchar 255. Just make sure, just select this one, the test schema. So let's see if it works. Unexpected vary. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll just do oh sorry, column. My mistake. That was a syntax error. I've added the wrong type. Okay, so what I've done, I have created, I've added a column called description, right? Now you could test it, select star from company. Let's see what you get. So voila, you got two fields here, right? Now I wanted to insert some value to the table, so it's pretty simple. You can say insert into table name, company. So just a name. So just a name, address. Into is active. Description. Okay, just do values. Oh crap! Sorry. Date association. That's Bitcoin firm. True. Oh, sorry. Address. Sorry. 1, 2, 3. Davis Street, right? Okay. New Zealand. I don't know if any street exists, but just made that up. Description. Bitcoin firm. Let me give it a try and see if it works. Okay. So now we do have a single row that's got inserted. Now let's test it out. So select star from company. Right, okay. So we do have a record that's got inserted. See Dave association, the address, and it's active flag. So this is a very simple SQL operation. Creating a database, creating a table is a pretty basic stuff, right? But it's very important, you guys understand how to do that, right? I mean, so because you probably would be doing that if you're an admin, right? To create a table, you could script a lot of things. I'm a pretty SQL user, so I normally do not like to use um, um, UI because it's okay. I mean, you can use UI, right? If you don't like to use SQL, but I prefer SQL. You can automate the queries. That's the advantage. You can join, different tables. You can, get the value from different tables. I mean, I will talk about joins, right? Different kind of joins because it's a pretty basic concept, which I would expect you guys should know. And so in the next episode, we're going to talk about views. We're going to talk about pipes, and all the other great stuff, right? The basic stuff which you normally should do, and I'll probably cover that tomorrow. Um, and I understand some of you might be interested to know DBT stuff, right? And some of the ingestion stuff. We're going to look into that, right? And AI ML. So we will try to cover as much as we can, right? This is just an introduction to Snowflake course. I will make sure I will be doing advanced version of it as well, but just wanted to make sure people who never worked with Snowflake at least get comfortable, start working on it, and especially if you're a Salesforce person, right? Because I'm a Salesforce architect. Just it's a great opportunity for you guys to get into Snowflake and start doing stuff. It's just a brilliant opportunity. So that being said, I hope you guys have an amazing Tuesday. Adios.